Welcome to NFL Nexus, where we break down the moves that really matter. Today, we are diving deep into the Chicago Bears and their massive first-round pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, safety Dylan Thieneman. You know, this single pick sent some serious ripples through the NFC North. So, was it a genius move by GM Ryan Poles? Was it just a lucky break? Or is there still a massive hole in this Chicago defense? Well, we're about to get into all of it.
All right, so here's the game plan. First, we're going to talk about the absolute train wreck that was the Bears secondary, which, really set the stage for this pick. Then, we'll get into the draft night drama, how Thieneman unexpectedly fell and became a total steal. After that, we'll break down the film and figure out what makes this guy a defensive Swiss Army knife. We'll check out the reactions from fans and experts alike, and then, and this is important, we're going to pump the brakes and look at the one huge problem that this team still has. And finally, we'll talk about what Chicago has to do next to finish this rebuild.
Okay, so to really get why this draft pick was such a big deal, you have to understand the mess that general manager Ryan Poles was staring at. Going into the draft, the safety position for the Bears, well, it wasn't just a weak spot. It was a full-on, code-red, five-alarm fire.
And I'm not exaggerating when I say fire. We're talking about a total collapse. The Bears' safety room didn't just need a patch or two, it needed to be bulldozed and rebuilt from the foundation up. At the end of the 2025 season, it was clear a complete overhaul was needed. This wasn't just about replacing one guy, it was basically a mass extinction event in their defensive backfield.
I mean, just look at this list of names. This almost never happens. It's a total defensive reset. The Bears lost every single one of their key safeties from last year. You've got Kevin Byard III, the veteran leader, the coach on the field. Jaquan Brisker, the heavy hitter. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the guy who could play anywhere. And Jonathan Owens, a solid contributor. All of them gone. They all just walked in free agency, leaving this massive, catastrophic black hole of talent and experience right in the middle of their defense.
And here's what that looks like in the box score. The 2025 defense was, let's be honest, a liability. They were just bleeding yards, ranking a pretty pathetic 29th in the entire league in total yards allowed per game. And against the pass, where safeties are so important, they were 21st. For a historic franchise like Chicago that prides itself on defense, those numbers are just flat out embarrassing. I mean, a performance that bad doesn't just lose you a few games. It basically wastes an entire year of your franchise quarterback's prime and kills the spirit of your fan base. Something had to change.
So, you have this disaster in the secondary, creating this intense pressure cooker situation on draft night. Ryan Poles and his team were under a ton of pressure to find someone who could start day one and make an immediate impact. They needed a win, and as the picks started ticking off the board, they got a gift that I'm pretty sure nobody, not even them, really saw coming.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. The draft didn't go how everyone thought it would. It went better for the Bears. All through the pre-draft process, pretty much every expert agreed. Dylan Thieneman, the safety from Oregon, was going to the Bears' biggest rival, the Minnesota Vikings, at pick 18. But then pick 18 came and went, and Minnesota went a different direction. And Thieneman just started to slide. He fell right past the teens, into the 20s, and landed right in Chicago's lap at pick 25.
For any general manager, this is basically the dream scenario. This wasn't a reach pick. It wasn't them settling for second best. This was that perfect moment where your biggest need lines up perfectly with the best player available. And when that happens, that's what everyone in the business calls a home run selection. Ryan Poles saw his pitch and did not hesitate to swing for the fences.
So why was Thieneman seen as a top 20 guy? Why was it so shocking that he fell? And what are the Bears actually getting in their new defensive star? Let's roll the tape and dig into the scouting reports to see what makes this guy so elite.
We have to start with this quote from A.J. Schultz over at A to Z Sports because it just nails why everyone was so hyped about Thieneman. The key words here are Swiss Army knife, asset for any defensive coach, and, of course, Pro Bowl caliber upside. So we're not just talking about a player who fills a hole. We're talking about a guy that scouts think can be a cornerstone for a defense for the next 10 years. Now, for anyone who might not be familiar with that term, a Swiss Army knife defender is pretty much the ultimate weapon in today's NFL. Offenses are all about creating mismatches, right? Well, to counter that, you need defenders who can do more than just one thing. This is a player you aren't stuck with in just one spot. A defensive coordinator can move him all over the place, playing deep center field, down in the box to stuff the run, or even covering a speedy receiver in the slot. He's a chess piece that can totally mess up an offense's game plan.
So what makes all that versatility possible? Well, it all starts upstairs, between the ears. According to scouts, his mental processing is second to none in this entire draft class. I mean, that is a powerful thing to say.
It means he sees the game just a split second faster than everybody else. His ability to recognize routes is so good, it's already considered better than some guys currently playing in the NFL. So when offenses try to get tricky with motions and weird formations, he's the guy who just cuts through all that noise, figures out the play, and gets where he needs to be. That's why they call him a ball hawk. His brain constantly puts him in a position to make a play.
And that super high football IQ translates directly to what he can do on the field. Just look at all the different roles he can play. As a deep post safety, he's got the speed and range to cover the deep part of the field and take away those long bombs. As a hash safety, he can lock down the middle. As a robber, he's great at reading the QB's eyes and jumping routes to create turnovers. And maybe most importantly in today's game, he's plenty capable of covering receivers in the slot. That is an incredibly valuable and rare skill set for a safety, and it's exactly what the Bears' defense was missing.
Physically, the guy has all the tools, that great burst and range we were just talking about. But what really makes this a perfect fit is who's going to be coaching him. He's landing in Chicago with Al Harris, who is one of the most respected defensive back coaches in the entire league. Harris has this amazing track record of turning talented young guys into legit Pro Bowlers. Now look, no prospect is perfect. The scouting reports do say his frame is probably maxed out, and he needs to clean up his tackling a bit. But honestly, those are pretty minor things that can be coached up, and he could not have ended up in a better place to do it.
So yeah, the front office obviously felt like they got a major steal. But what did everyone else think? Well, as it turns out, the reaction from the fans in Chicago, who can be pretty tough, and the national media was immediate, it was loud, and it was almost completely positive across the board.
I mean, right away, social media just exploded. Bears fans, who have been desperate for a winner, were just thrilled. This tweet from Caleb FC18 pretty much sums it up. Let King Poles cook. It was like a coronation for the general manager. Fans were just heaping praise on him for being patient and pulling off what they saw as a complete draft day robbery. And this wasn't just, fans being optimistic. That feeling was backed up by the pros. Draft analysts from all over the league, the people who do this for a living, were all in agreement. The consensus grade for the Dylan Tieneman pick was a rare and loud A+. You almost never see everyone agree on a grade like that, and it tells you just how highly this player was valued.
Here's just one more that really captures the vibe from J.J. LaPlante. Great job, Ryan Poles. Absolutely nailed the pick and great value at 25. Love it. And the key words there are nailed and value. The feeling in Chicago was that their team didn't just fill a need. They got one of the best players in the entire draft at a discount. It was a huge, huge win.
Hey, if you're enjoying this NFL Nexus deep dive, do us a quick favor and hit that like button. And definitely subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next breakdown. And if you're looking for a cool gift for a football fan of any age, we actually made some custom NFL-themed coloring books. You can check them out by scanning the QR code on your screen or just clicking the link in the description. Your support really helps us keep making more content like this. Okay, back to the Bears.
All right, the celebration was totally deserved. It was an A+ pick, no doubt about it. But now we have to switch gears from the high of draft night to the cold, hard reality of building a roster. Because as awesome as Dylan Tieneman is, he can't magically fix every single problem in that secondary. There is a very serious issue still lurking.
Just take a look at this depth chart. On the surface, the starters look great. You've got your big free agent, Kobe Bryant, with his new $40 million deal, next to your shiny new first-round pick, Dylan Tieneman. That could be an elite duo. But now, look at the names right behind them. The drop-off is, well, it's a cliff. The backups are Jarvarius Owens, who was on the practice squad last year, and Elijah Hicks, a former 7th-round pick. There is a terrifying lack of proven depth and real NFL experience behind those top two guys.
And this slide right here asks the one question that should honestly keep Bears fans up at night. Because in the NFL, where the injury rate is basically 100%, what happens if Kobe Bryant or Dylan Tieneman has to miss a few games? The Bears saw this happen last season when injuries to their cornerbacks almost wrecked the whole defense. They are playing with fire here. They are so thin, and one bad step or one rolled ankle could turn this new strength right back into a giant weakness. It would force a totally unproven player onto the field and could compromise the entire defense.
So, the bottom line is pretty simple. The job isn't done yet, not by a long shot. Ryan Poles made a fantastic move to get a star player, but that's just the first step. So what can the Bears do to fix this dangerously thin depth chart and actually finish the rebuild of their safety room? From what we're seeing, there are two clear paths they can take. Option 1 is to go back to the well and draft another safety in the mid to late rounds. The upside there is you get another young, cheap player you can develop.
The downside? Well, he's another rookie, and you'd be counting on another unproven guy if there's an injury. Option 2 is to wait and look at the veteran free agents. After the draft, there are always some experienced, reliable guys available. The upside is you get a solid insurance policy, a guy who won't be rattled. The downside is he's probably older, costs more, and doesn't have a high ceiling.
Look, the Bears got their star, no question about it. They landed a blue-chip player with Pro Bowl potential in Dylan Thieneman. But the question that's going to define their season is this. Is one great move, one A-plus pick, really enough to build a true championship-level secondary? Or does that shaky depth behind him leave them just as vulnerable as they were before? Thanks for watching this deep dive on NFL Nexus. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you think the Bears should do. Draft another safety, or go sign a veteran. We'll see you on the next one.